In the shadowy streets of Victorian London, a name whispered in terror became infamous across the globe: Jack the Ripper. Between August and November of 1888, 5 women were brutally murdered in the East End. Their lives ended by an unknown figure who disappeared into the fog, leaving a legacy of fear, mystery, and speculation. Over a century later, Jack the Ripper remains the world's most notorious killer, a chilling enigma that continues to haunt history. To understand Jack the Ripper, we must begin in Whitechapel, a district of London that, in 1888, was a grim landscape of poverty, overcrowding, and despair. The streets were a maze of narrow alleys and dimly lit corners, where crime, disease, and hopelessness thrived. Among the most vulnerable were the women who worked as prostitutes, struggling to survive in this harsh reality. These women would become the Ripper's prey. The horror began on August 31st, 1888, with the discovery of Mary Ann Nichols, the Ripper's first confirmed victim. Her body was found in Bucks Row, her throat slashed and her abdomen mutilated. Just over a week later, on September 8th, the body of Annie Chapman was discovered in Hanbury Street, with similar gruesome injuries. Panic spread through Whitechapel as the killer escalated. Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes were killed on the same night, September 30th, in what became known as the double event. Finally, on November 9th, the body of Mary Jane Kelly was found in her lodging room. Her murder was the most brutal of all, leaving even hardened investigators horrified. The pattern was clear. Jack the Ripper struck with surgical precision, targeting the throats and abdomens of his victims. The brutality suggested more than just violence. It hinted at a deranged mind or perhaps a twisted purpose. Was he a butcher, a doctor, or simply a madman? Adding to the mystery were the letters allegedly sent by the killer to the police and newspapers. The most infamous, known as the Dear Boss letter, was signed Jack the Ripper, a name that would become immortalized. Another chilling letter, dubbed the From Hell letter, arrived with a piece of human kidney, supposedly taken from one of the victims. These communications taunted authorities and fueled public hysteria, though many believe the letters were hoaxes designed to capitalize on the fear gripping London. The police investigation into the Ripper murders was one of the largest and most intense in history. Detectives interviewed thousands of suspects, patrolled the streets nightly, and even consulted psychics in desperation. Yet the killer evaded capture. The lack of forensic science at the time left investigators relying on witness accounts and circumstantial evidence, both of which led to dead ends. Over the years, theories about Jack the Ripper's identity have ranged from plausible to outlandish. Suspects included Montague John Druitt, a barrister who committed suicide shortly after the murders; Aaron Kosminski, a Polish immigrant with a history of mental illness; and even members of the British royal family. Some believe the Ripper was a woman, a theory that gained traction with the nickname Jill the Ripper. The most intriguing theories suggest the murders were part of a larger conspiracy, possibly involving Freemasons or political figures attempting to cover up scandals. But with no definitive proof, the Ripper's true identity remains one of history's greatest mysteries. The story of Jack the Ripper has transcended time, inspiring countless books, films, and TV series. It has also spurred an entire field of study, Ripperology, where amateur sleuths and historians alike pore over old police reports, photographs, and theories, hoping to solve the case. But Jack the Ripper is more than just a historical mystery. He is a symbol of fear, a shadowy figure representing humanity's darkest impulses. Who was Jack the Ripper? A surgeon with a sadistic streak? A madman lost to history? Or a phantom created by the fears of a city drowning in despair? Over 130 years later, the questions remain unanswered, and the legend endures. One thing is certain: Jack the Ripper will forever haunt the foggy streets of Whitechapel, a reminder that some shadows never fade,